Yay! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever it is you're watching this from. That's becoming a bit of a catchphrase now. We had a mad panic last minute here trying to get Wi-Fi working. It is good, so fingers crossed it's going to stay fully operational. I've had a few things replaced, so let me know if it's dipping in and out, but otherwise, hopefully we can all have a lovely, lovely live feed tonight. For those of you who didn't see last week, I was in Manchester with the amazing Kath Tilsley. We went through a lot of stuff on menopause, on pregnancy, on motivation, how she deals with things with a busy life and a busy career girl that she is, and a mother and wife. So go over to my YouTube channel and check that out. That's still up there. Amazing, amazing, amazing live feed. And yes, for those of you asking, we will be doing that again at some point. It was really, really cool. And I will try to get together with a few other of our clients, more well-known clients, to get their input on how their journey has been. So you hear it from other people's mouth and not just ours. So, do we have any UP announcements at the moment? UP Marbella, my very own UP Marbella, 4 kilometers down the hill here. We've got a beautiful, beautiful newly refurbed terrace. We've got a bunch of new equipment there. We have canopies over the roof because by God it is hot here right now. We're looking at about 40-45 degrees in August, which has been absolutely brutal, but yes, you can still train. On that, to give you a bit of advice for those of you training out in the sun and sweating a lot at this time of year, make sure, 2 things. Number 1, you are staying very, very hydrated. That kind of goes without saying, so I would assume most of you figured that out. Number 2, electrolytes. Electrolytes are very, very, very important to take in if you sweat a lot, or if the heat is up, or even if you're training. So remember to get onto upfitness.com, pick up some Amplify because it is full of electrolytes. That's really going to help you out. If not, of course, you can get them from the pharmacy, etc. elsewhere. Don't go down to the high street and pick up Lucozade and all this stuff. It's just full of sugar. It's not going to do you any good for your body composition goals. So, of course, we are recording this for YouTube. YouTube, hello, if you're watching this on the second chance. So you will see me mostly looking over here, YouTube, and then at the very end, I'll look back at you, but I'm just asking and answering questions. If you have any questions for me, do put them in the comments box of the YouTube video and I will come back to you at some point. Anito, hello, how are you doing? We've got a bunch of familiar faces here. A lot of our very own crew from the LiveUP online plans. For anyone who doesn't know what the LiveUP online plans are, they are basically, let's be humble about it, they are the most effective fat loss plans for both male and female out there anywhere on the market. I will put my name to that because they're my proudest creation. So get onto upfitness.com and go and check that out. It basically means that you can train with me online for £50 per month. £50 per month. I know, exciting, right? Laura Cupcakes, hello, how are you? Welcome back. Plenty of you coming in. Right, who is going to break the question virginity? Cam, welcome back. You're here all of the time. Thank you for coming back in. Obviously, I'm keeping a few of you interested, which is always nice. We had a really, really good turnout last week for cats. Obviously, it kind of helps having a rather lovely, beautiful brunette woman standing next to me. Obviously, I'm not good enough for you guys and girls, but here we go. Silky, hello. Let me know, Silky. Hopefully, they got through to you with some information. Kaylee Victoria, welcome back. Seen you a few times. Glad you're coming back in. Come on, hit me with a question. Who's got the first one? Please could you advise veg or vegan omega sauces? You can get them from various types of nuts. You'll be able to get them if it's full-on vegan. That's probably going to be your better bet. Or supplementary, so get some supplements. Samantha, my very own little Samantha from Marbella. Welcome, how are you? Win to the Stan, I'm assuming that your name is Winston, and you've said it in quite a cool Instagram way. Come on, slow start people. What else have we got to say? What have I covered? Obviously I was in Manchester all of last week working for my head office and also our very own gym there. Went and checked out Cheshire. If any of you watching this are over near our Cheshire area towards Wilmslow area, get over there and check that out. It's an awesome gym, amazing team. We did some great videos in there with one of the members of the team, Catherine. So do get onto my profile and check them out. And they will of course be going up on the UP Fitness page too, so you won't miss out. Laura Cupcakes, I'm really annoyed. The boyfriend taking ages to come home and not been to the gym yet, not even had my third meal. Help and advice. First bit of advice, Laura, would be to have your third meal and stop using your boyfriend as an excuse. Pow. Don't blame other people. Take action. Organic powders, greens, good or bad? They're good, Spenny girl. What I would advise anyone out there having organic kind of spirulina powders or greens powders or something like that, they are of course a very, very beneficial thing to add into a diet. However, they are not to replace whole foods, and this is something you need to be very, very particular about. Of course, if you're having like, you know, a spoonful of choconutrients, for instance, in a shake, great, it is going to be a complete benefit. You certainly won't lose out by having it. The problem is with these kind of greens powders, and sometimes where they're not necessarily the best idea, is because a lot of you out there think that instead of eating whole vegetables, you can just start having these shakes, and that's not the case. That is not what you want to be doing. So yes, they're brilliant, but they should be additional to your prescribed amount of vegetables. Now, to give you an idea, I haven't got a plate near me, but let's say that is the size of an average plate, okay? Half of that plate should be green vegetables, okay? Half of every plate of food you eat. So for most of you out there, that's gonna be between, let's say, 3 and 6 plates per day. So do remember that. Powders, yes, use them, such as our Choco Treats, which is the best tasting greens powder on the planet. I kid you not. Go to upfitness.com and search Choco Treats in the search bar. They are amazing, but make sure they are supplementary to a good diet, not overtaking whole foods. Billy, after some tips for somebody trying to bulk who doesn't have a particularly big appetite. Billy, your best bet is to get your calories, and obviously what you need to really make sure is that your calories are nutrient dense, okay? One of the things that so many people out there do is that they just kind of uncontrollably put calories in, thinking that donuts and this and that and the other is the way to build muscle. It is not. They are inflammatory foods. If you are inflamed, you're not going to be building muscle properly. It's an idiotic way of bulking, quote unquote, and often promoted by people who are taking a load of gear, which is why it doesn't work for every man. So the way to do it would be to have, you know, a good baseline. I defy anyone, male or female, to struggle to eat 2,000 calories a day of really, really good food, because it's not much. I could eat that for breakfast and still be hungry 2 hours afterwards. But eat a baseline of good food, 2,000 to 3,000 calories if you're trying to bulk, and then on top of that, add fats. Fats, because they're very, very calorie dense. Per gram of fat, you're looking at about 9.4 calories. So, you know, a big heaped teaspoon of peanut butter is probably going to be the best part of 600 calories. Okay, it's a lot. It's very, very easy to get that in. Now, of course, if you don't want to sit there eating peanut butter out of a tub, once you've hit your protein goals, etc., then add it to the food. Therefore, it's not any more food, but it's more calories. So for instance, with peanut butter, I really like putting a big spoon of peanut butter with my chicken, adding a little bit of soy sauce, some garlic, and some salt and pepper, and it makes an amazing satay chicken. So try that. You're eating exactly the same quantity of food, only with an extra 600 or 700 calories in that meal. So it's a really nice way of cheating. What have we got? Jumbles, hey, some natural alternatives before training. What do you mean natural alternatives? Natural alternatives to what? Gabriella, hey, how did Kath lose weight but not have saggy skin that you happen when someone else loses a lot of weight? Gabriella, what that tends to kind of rely on is two things. First of all, genetics. If you have kind of genetically less elastic skin, slightly less healthy skin, then potentially that is going to happen. The other factor within that is the speed at which you lose weight. If you lose weight slowly, you have a far lower chance of that happening. If you lose weight really, really quickly on shake diets or something like this, it drops off really, really fast, you have a greater chance of that happening. For all of you out there, you can help you, anyone who does that. So as I said, anyone who knows my history, I was obese, I was massive, I was a big, big boy. Now I have loose skin around my body. Certain parts of my body, I carry a lot more loose skin than others, mostly my chest. That's never going to change. I didn't do it intelligently. However, if you are losing weight, make sure you are nourished. If you are nourished, if you're taking lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, and good proteins, then you are going to give your body the best possible chance of keeping all of its cells healthy, skin included. So that's going to be your best kind of weapon against saggy skin. Laura Cupcakes, I'm not. I thought you was meant to have a third meal after workout. No, not at all, Laura. You have a carb meal after a workout. You can have your meals whenever you want, really, providing you save your carbs for post-workout. Read the plan, Laura. Read it and read it again. Do you recommend taking HMB, and could you outline benefits? I don't, Cam, no. So I won't outline benefits. Literally, I put a video on supplements on my Instagram TV, IGTV. The supplement industry, there is an awful lot of stuff that people take unnecessarily. You know, they're wasting a load of money on either impure products or products that they really don't need. In my opinion, the only products that you really do need are the ones I've outlined in the LiveUP Essentials. You can go to UP Fitness and check that out because it saves me going through them. To give you a bit of a ballpark on them, they are zinc, magnesium, omega-3s, vitamin Ds, digestive enzymes, and protein and BCAAs, or not BCAAs, sort of amplify, so essential amino acids while you train. So these are kind of the ones that are going to be effective. Anything on top of that, potentially I would put in place for a specific reason. If a client I know needs it, then I will give it to them. But for the general population, for 99% of you out there, no, I would say keep your supplements limited. Don't go and shop for a million different things. Now, of course, I probably should be saying buy this, buy that, buy that, buy the other, but it would be dishonest of me and it would be me showing no integrity, and that's not what I do, it's not what I will ever do, and it's not what we do as a business. Yes, we produce a lot of supplements, but we will only recommend them when we think they are needed, okay? So don't waste your money on too many supplements. Don Giovanni, hey man, with the HIT, you better take a slightly longer rest and get your breath back so you can push it to max effort. Exactly that. I don't need to read the rest of that question. The idea is to take a couple of minutes or as much as you need so that every single working period you can go absolutely hell for leather. So for instance, those of you wondering what's going on, Don Giovanni here, I believe is on the LiveUP plan. I recognize the name. If you are doing intervals, rest as long as you need to, reasonably. Obviously, don't go to the point where you're resting 5-6 minutes between sets, but rest long enough to make sure that you can really hammer the intensity on the working phases. If you are, you're doing the first 3 amazingly, but the last 10 are terrible, then there's not really much point. So give yourself enough rest. For most people, 60 seconds to 2 minutes, maybe 60 to 120 seconds is enough rest to really keep that intensity up. So play it by ear with that. Every one of you will need different, but yeah, rest slightly more if the intensity starts to drop. Any key factors to take into consideration in training with diabetes with regards to the exercises themselves? Timmy, I wouldn't suspect so. No, honestly, providing circulation, everything is as it should be, depends on the stage of the diabetes. Probably not. There could be an argument to say, do you want to deplete blood sugar too fast? There could be a few different answers to that. I'm not going to hazard a guess at that because it's an interesting question, but one I've never really necessarily considered, and off the top of my head wouldn't be able to answer it for you, so I don't want to give you any bad information. Why is it better to do a blast of cardio at the end of your weight session rather than at the beginning? Mentally, I find it so much easier to get my cardio out of the way at the start. Jumbles, because it will affect your weight training session. When your weight training session is affected, if you're lifting less, if you're not training as hard, then you are not going to get as much out of your session. You are not going to get the results. First and foremost, weight training is the #1 way of getting in shape, whether you want to lose fat or you want to build muscle, tone up, or however you want to say it. Weight training is key, therefore the weight training should always be the priority. If you burn yourself out before the weight training, you're not going to get as much out of it. Hi UP Fitness, hi to you Jenny Stokes. Kaylee, hello, what are the benefits of squatting barefoot? I see this a lot, is it somehow better? Thank you. Kaylee, it's each to their own. A lot of old school powerlifters like to squat barefoot because it gives you a stable base of support. Now if you think about, wait there, hold that thought for one moment. Let's take a pair of trainers for instance. Now, what do we see in most gyms? This is a shameless plug for Nike, so Nike, send me some free shit. What we see here is a big, thick sole, okay? Now, that sole gives, it flexes, okay? When you are squatting, it's gonna do the same, and what essentially that does is it makes your foot unstable and it wobbles. If you remove that sole, either flat shoes, something like Converse, or barefoot, then you're gonna have a stable base of support. You're not going to lose quite so much power sideways, you're going to drive most of the force up, and this is why squatting shoes have a very hard, slightly wedged sole. The slightly wedged sole puts you in a good mechanical position, puts your ankle in a good position to squat, and the fact that the soles are rock hard and they're made out of a good hard leather is you don't lose any power sideways. Now for instance, this is why more hardcore squatters tend to use things like that. Let's say you are competing and 5% of the power that you drive up with goes out with shoes. That 5% can be the difference between first place and 15th place. Okay, so it gets important at those stages. To summarize, you're going to be more stable, you're going to be stronger, you're going to be potentially safer, and you're going to be able to lift more. So that's essentially it. But just about hard base. Sue and Edward, I'm confused. HIT or LIST for fat loss? If you were going to choose one or the other, HIT. Great advice, bro. We're at Belize, Palencia. I'm not entirely sure where that is. I'm assuming it's a nice little hotel. What's it like? Give us a review. Gareth, hello. Weightlifting, shoes or barefoot squatting? For me, Sue and Edward, I prefer shoes. When I'm not riddled with injuries and I can squat, I actually use Adidas Adipower. They're brilliant shoes. If you have a wider foot, however, I would suggest going for some of the Nike variations. They're slightly better if you've got a fatter foot. Jenny Stokes, hello again. Infidel, hello. Kay Gibson, what's up? Exactly, I've just finished first 2 meals early before my workout. Yeah, what you have to see in the LiveUP plan, Laura, is that what I have put out in that plan are examples. They are not something you should be sticking to avidly. It's examples. So go back to the plan and please read it, because if you don't read it, you're not going to get the most out of it. How does LiveUP women's online plan differ to the normal online plan that you do? The normal online plan I believe you're referring to is actually one-to-one training. So that is completely customized 100% to you, to your abilities, to your equipment, to your dietary requirements. LiveUP, however, is a fixed program that over time, dietary adjustments will be made, which is why there's such a vast difference in price. LiveUP is only £50 per month. Online training is anywhere between £160 and £300 per month, because of the specificity of it. Try saying that with a dry mouth. How does undereating negatively affect fat loss? What is undereating, given we need to be in a deficit to lose fat? Cheers, mate. Liverpool Menswear. Let's try to simplify this. Let's say that, okay, the easiest way, let's think about a modern car. A modern car has a fuel save mode or an idle mode. For instance, I'm lucky enough to have worked hard enough to drive a Porsche. Now, if anything is wrong with my Porsche, if something happens to the engine or something is going on with the filter or anything is going on, what my Porsche does is puts itself in idle mode. So what it does is it limits the revs, it limits the stress on the engine. Now, essentially, that is what your body does. If it thinks that it is unsafe, if it thinks it's not in a good place, it will limit the revs, it will limit the amount of fuel it burns to keep itself safe and keep it alive, okay? What we need to do when dieting someone is to reassure the body and tell the body, you are safe. You are 100% safe. I'm looking after you. I'm nourishing you. I'm giving you enough food. I'm giving you enough calories. I'm giving you enough nutrients so you can drive as fast as you can. Let's fire in all cylinders. Let's drive every bit of horsepower you've got. Go, 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 go. That's the perfect combination of dieting. Make sure your body knows it's safe and knows it's okay to burn as much fuel as possible. Then you're going to get a nice fast transformation. You're going to build muscle. You're going to feel amazing. To do that, yes, you need to be in a calorie deficit in order to burn fat. However, that deficit needs to be so slight that your body knows it's in a safe place. So let's say for most people, between 250 and 500 calories off their maintenance is a good place to start. Slowly, depending on how the body recovers, yes, you can potentially go lower than that, but you probably don't want to stay there for too long. But this is basically the key. Keep your body safe. Keep it in a nice place. Make sure it knows it's safe and it will get rid of fat. Remember, fat is essentially a survival substance. It's there to keep us alive if we have no food and we have no sustenance. So it will hold on to it if it thinks there's a problem, i.e. the calorie deficit is too great. I hope that explains it okay. Does the new UP Fitness book on nutrition include a detox plan? No, Mona Big, I don't believe it does, because detoxes are bullshit. Danny Camp, Chambu, hello. Wednesday with Elliot. Good to see you back in Marbella, mate. Addy Powers are smashing for squats. They are indeed. I really, really love mine. Really resilient shoes. Really, really stable. Really, really good on the feet. They take 2 weeks or so to wear in, but once they're there, done. Ramin, hello. Breed of Champ, hey, what's up? Don Giovanni, I note that you did not include creatine in your subs list, whereas previous PTs have sworn by it. When would you suggest bringing that in? Because for me, I don't believe it's necessarily vital. Sure, absolutely, it's a good add-in. But what you've also got to remember is that in a few of our products, it's likely to be there anyway. But if you want creatine, you want to add it in, 5 grams post-workout is going to be the best time to take it, and that's the right amount. So 5 grams, and that goes for both males and females. Laura, JH, I've been following you for a while now. I just started at a new gym and it has 1 squat rack. What other exercises would you recommend as part of a decent routine? If you're just starting out, your best bet is to get your confidence up with squatting, use some fixed weight machines, try some deadlifting. So it depends on what other equipment you've got. Honestly, your best bet is to use every piece of equipment, you know? Go around every piece of equipment, do 2 or 3 sets, learn how to feel the weight, learn how to feel training, learn how to enjoy it. Once you get to that, you will kind of naturally progress through the stages of lifting, you know, and you will end up with variations of this and variations with that. If you wanted kind of a general rule, then always go for big movements. So we're talking squats, deadlifts, pull-ups or pull-downs, shoulder presses, bent over rows, things like that. That's going to be your big movements that are going to get the most out of you. You'll build the most muscle and burn the most fat from those movements. Ross, what's up? Sorry to be specific. What would you say is as good or better than the squat. As good or better, the only exercise that is as good or better is the deadlift. If someone were to say to me for the rest of my life, the only movement I was allowed to do, if I got put on a desert island and someone said you do one movement for the rest of your life, one exercise, it would be the deadlift. Because I believe it's a more total exercise from a shape point of view as well, but squat and deadlift are kind of on a par. So if there was one other exercise, it would be the deadlift. Jenny Stokes, hello for the third time, I believe. Hello again for the fourth time even. Wow, we're doing well here. Does the UP meal plan book go into working out macro splits? Boski, I believe it does, yes. So go and check that out. Anyone who's wondering when people are mentioning the book here, if you go over to upfitness.com or even amazon.com and check out the meal planning, Ultimate Performance Meal Planning book. It's the second in the series of 4 books. To generalize it, to break it down, if you have these 2 books in your arsenal, as a personal trainer, they will make you better than any course you have ever done overnight. Okay, they're engaging, they're easy to read, they give you all the tools you need to be as effective as a UP trainer at getting transformation. So well worth a look. Go over to amazon.co.uk and you can search the first one, which is the principles of muscle building. You can search the second one, which is meal planning or meal prep. For a woman weighing 143 pounds, what should calorie intake be to lose weight? If you would like specific calorie intake to work out, then by all means go to upfitness.com and purchase online training rather than asking me for free advice, which I'm not going to give you. However, I will give you a little bit of advice. What are you eating now? Work out what you're eating over 3-4 days. Work out the mean, the average calories from those 3 or 4 days, and then figure out, are you gaining weight, are you losing weight, or are you maintaining? If you are maintaining, there's a good chance that they are your maintenance calories and you maybe need to take some away. Try that. Do you know anything about mothering apple cider vinegar? Mothering apple specifically, apple cider vinegar can be very good for the gut. I very much like it. I have a shot of it every single morning, but with regards to mothering apple vinegar, I don't know it specifically. Too British to be Asian. Training at UP Mayfair London and couldn't recommend you guys enough. I'm losing body fat and becoming toned, much more confident, and I'm learning how to lift for the first time. That is awesome. I love it when you guys, our very own clients, come on and actually give a bit of feedback that isn't forced. You know, it's very organic, it's very natural and very real. So thank you for that, Too British to be Asian. Currently doing the UP Fitness Hypertrophy book, loving it. How can I get better at pull-ups and include it within the book's program? My favorite way of getting better at pull-ups is obviously if you can use banded or assistance machines, that's one way. Secondly is eccentric loading. So start at the top of the pull-up and slowly lower down, slow as you can. Over a period of weeks, you'll start to get better and better at that until eventually you can pull up. That's the simplest way to break it down. Could you give me some more information on online training, please? Yes, Kay Gibson, it's going to be very difficult for me to give you it now, but if you direct message your email address to this page, go into the email address and just say you would like some more information on online training, and then send your email address, and one of our lovely team will send you out the details that you need. Bateman Hannah, I work out 6 days a week doing weights or HIIT sessions. Recently I've been trying to go on runs 2 to 3 times a week. I've heard this is counterproductive. Is this true? Pretty much, yes, it is counterproductive. And you're doing 6 sessions a week, 6 weight training sessions a week. I would highly recommend you back that off to 4 maximum, and you, yes, walk instead of run. It's going to elevate stress hormones. It's going to put unnecessary stress on your joints. If you're training 6 days a week anyway, there is no way you're recovering. Your body is going to be rejecting any kind of progress you may be able to make. So yeah, back off that one, Hannah. Lost nearly 60 kilos in 14 months and want to start bulking. Do I need to up the weight and do less reps? It's a good place to start. Yeah, obviously make sure you're eating enough. It's a good place to start. Lift more. Progressive overload is the key. Cheers, Elliot. Loving UP Live and have been telling everyone about it. If anyone here is considering it, stop considering and sign up. I agree, Don Giovanni. I absolutely agree. I've just read books and totally agree. Top-notch information. Highly recommend. Awesome. Thank you, Simon. Cardio sessions or weight sessions first? Steve's always prioritize your weights, especially if you're bulking, as you just say. Weight sessions should always become the first priority. And remember, if you're training hard enough, then they are cardio. Kat, hello. Laura J, thanks. The squat rack is always good and the hog is only one. I have deadlifts in my routine for alternatives A. I find I struggle with grip as my forearms hurt for anything else. Then use some straps, get some lifting straps. And if you want to replace the squat, then do goblet squats, something similar to that. Walking lunges, reverse lunges, rear foot elevated split squats. All of these exercises can be found very, very easily in the book, The Principles of Muscle Building. So go and check that out. But yeah, there's a million different ones. If I sat here now and went through every single exercise, then there would be a major problem. To put it into perspective, we don't even have half of them on there. But for the LiveUP plan, all of the men and women doing the LiveUP online training plan, they get access to 400 plus videos on the website of just different exercises. Okay, so it shows you how many exercises that I would have to go through to give you some good alternatives. There are many. Have a play around and get to grips with them. After protein for macros for lean muscle mass, is it best to prioritize fats or carbs? Joe, it depends on you specifically. Some people are going to build a good amount of muscle on a low carb diet. Some people would need carbs. It honestly depends how lean you are is the answer to that. If you were really, really lean, then I would say carbs. If you were still quite chunky, you still had a bit of fat to lose, then I would say fats. Hi Elliot, firstly, thanks a lot for all the content, you're most welcome. Wondering on the importance of switching up breakfast. I've been eating 3 eggs and a handful of cashews for the past few months. Male, 25, 5'9". Will, variation of food in general is irrelevant of whether it's breakfast. It's very, very important to make sure you're getting a full spectrum of nutrients, to make sure your digestive system is working as well as it should be, and also to stop you from stagnation. Getting bored is the #1 reason that people fail on their diet, okay? So, yes, it's important. Is it vital? Is it life-destroyingly vital? No, not necessarily, but it is quite important, so I would recommend it. Chris Middlebrook. Hi Elliot, good to see you live. Ari the Catherine, my PT Ben has recommended a pre-workout supplement carb drink pre-workout with BCAAs post-workout. What are the pros and cons of this and opposite way? Okay, so let's take carb drink pre-workout. I'm not a fan of replacing food with liquid. As a lot of you who follow me know, I think it's a bad idea because most of you cheat because you get hungry or you've got appetite, you've got this, so why waste carbs in liquid? Secondly, if you're going to take a liquid carb drink whilst training, before training, or even after training, you better be lean. You'd better be seriously lean already. With regards to everything else, I can take it by the by, not an issue. I have EAAs, basically, what else have you got there? BCAAs post-workout, what are the pros and cons of this from the opposite way? There's nothing wrong with it, you know? There is nothing wrong with it, so do what you need to do. I wouldn't necessarily be dumping a load of carbs in, but it depends if you're shredded or not. If you're shredded, then by all means. Mia Woos, do you have a site in London, I assume? Site? We do. We have High Street Kensington. We have a gym in High Street Kensington. We have another gym in Mayfair on Park Street, which is where I cut my teeth for the first time in UP 7 years ago. We have another one in City over towards Old Street Station. I believe it's Paul Street. So you can go and check them out. If you go to the website, upfitness.com, and go down on the left-hand side, I believe, it gives you locations. You can select the location, select the country, then it will list all of the gyms there so you can contact them directly. Hi, how do you lose muscle mass? You don't eat much and don't train. Bateman Hannah, thank you, I'll rest more. Yes, please do. 6 days a week plus running is far too much. Kat, I can't get enough protein. I bought the UP Fitness book, which is excellent, but I'm veggie and struggle for protein. Yes, unfortunately, being a vegan, a vegetarian is going to make you struggle for protein, and trying to balance, more than that, trying to balance your macros out is very difficult, because most vegan protein sources are extremely high in carbs. So it's difficult there. You know, of course, you can use shakes, you can use things like our vegan whey will help, but is it optimal? No, it is not. You shouldn't necessarily be having that. Certainly try to cook it into whole foods if you can. But you're between a bit of a rock and a hard place there. Opening a gym in Essex anytime soon. T-call, wait and see. You may be lucky, you may not. We will see. Ruth Rhiannon Doughty? Hello. Megan Evans insert. Is all bodyweight training better per session than focusing on legs one day, arms the next? Megan Evans, is a generalization, but on the whole, yes. I'm going to say yes. The reason being is that most of us out there, you know, it's very, very easy to get caught up in the fitness world where people say, oh yeah, it's leg day, it's arms day, it's back day, it's this, that, the other. These people often live for training. It's all they do. It's what they do for a living. So they wake up, they train, they go to sleep, they eat, they get this, they get that. They're also taking a lot of supplements that you are never going to take, which helps them recover far, far faster. So don't let that necessarily influence your decisions on how to train. For most people, full body workouts are going to be far more metabolic. You're going to burn more calories, therefore you're going to get leaner in less sessions. It also means that you can't put as much volume per session, i.e. the total number of reps per muscle group, which then means that you're going to recover better, therefore you will grow better, generally feel a lot better. So it is a generalization, but yes, for me, whole body workouts, or certainly at least whole body or push-pull style workouts, are better than body part splits. How lean do you need to be able to earn your carbs? For most of my females, Sue, I would say between 14 and 16% before I can really start loading them up on a lot of carbs. Obviously, that's not to say they have no carbs to that point. You know, most will be having between 100 and 150 a day, but I can give someone who's 14 to 16 up to 3, 4, 500 a day. And as a male, I would say about 12 to 10%. Cheers, I have the book and I love it. I'm following the 3-day split routine from the book. First time properly lifting. Got the new book in over 3 weeks. Since eating more, I've lost 2% body fat and 5 centimeters. Awesome, Laura. That is what we like to see. Putting the book into action, putting the information that we've given you into action, and succeeding. And probably potentially breaking through a little bit of a misconception, right? Eating more, losing fat, which is amazing. So thank you for that. Willow, no problem. Will, silly question, but can you eat too many eggs? I'm really relying on them. I'd say no, Sarah Jane. What do you think of carb cycling? Beck, I love carb cycling. Carb cycling is amazing. It should be brought in at the right time. You know, if you're carrying 30% body fat, you shouldn't be carb cycling immediately. What I would suggest is to diet yourself down in a linear fashion until you stall, and then you can start manipulating carbs. But carb cycling is phenomenal. And for those of you out there who may not know what carb cycling is, it's essentially fluctuating your carb intake day by day based on your activity level. So to put that into practice, let's say we have 3 full body training sessions per week. On each full body training session, we have 300 grams of carbs that day. And all the days where we're not training or we're doing cardio, we have 100 grams of carbs. So we give our bodies the fuel when we need it, the glucose when we need it, and then we reduce it when we don't. Makes sense, right? It's logical. Hi, eating low carb with a veg, fat, protein, 18% body fat. Should eat complex carbs to have energy and not feel so tired. If you've got fat to lose, have a little bit of extra fat when you're feeling lethargic and you're feeling a bit low. It'll probably solve the problem. I would suggest maybe get a bit leaner before you start to load up on carbs. Mia Woos, you're welcome. Will you be opening a UP gym in Shanghai? They may well do, Suan. It's one of those cities that is very, very UP ready, so potentially. We always got some people in here trying to get a follow, haven't we? Is it good to go through your carb cycling for fat loss based on your book if you deal with hypoglycemia? With anything you read of ours, anything at all, anything I say, anything anybody says, check specifically with your doctor. Your individual circumstances need to be assessed. This is why we do PARQs, etc. if we're dealing with online training, anything like that. So rather than me answer that, you need to check with your doctor and make sure everything is okay. Unfortunately, it's difficult for me to give you answers on stuff like that because it could potentially be illegal or cause me problems, which I don't want. Hi from Portugal. Is there really 20 grams of protein in a carb killer bar? Sean, I don't know. If you really want to get in good shape, I wouldn't suggest eating them anyway, but I don't know. If I'm doing a set of 7 and I fail at 4, how long should I rest before finishing the set? If you're talking about doing something like a rest pause set, I would suggest between 10 and 20 seconds is enough. Are SL exercises best for piriformis problems? Right side stays high when going deep in squat. Potentially yes, because it's going to help you to balance out. By SL, I assume she means single leg. So yes, if you have imbalances of any kind, it's always worth doing unilateral or single side movements to balance out strength, to balance out mobility. But again, if you have issues, especially around the hips, mobilize them. Do lots of warming up, do lots of stretching, lots of foam rolling. If you want to know how to do it, go to my YouTube, Elliot Upton, and check out the warm-up video I did there. It's a dynamic warm-up I do before my training sessions. It's what I've always asked my clients to do before their training sessions. It's going to make you strong, it's going to make you mobile, and it's going to keep you healthy. Chris Middlebrook, in bulking phase, is it sensible to do 6 sessions per week? Absolutely not. No, I would say probably not, because you're not recovering. What you have to remember, if you're trying to get big, and unless you are a genetic freak who is just going to build muscle irrelevant of what you do, most people out there are not like that. Most of us are average Joes, unfortunately, or average Chris's, as it may be. But you grow when you rest. I am growing now, right here, as I stand here talking to you. I am growing more now than I am in the gym. Simple as that. All I'm doing in the gym is shrinking because I'm breaking down muscle tissue and I'm damaging it. I have to rest in order to grow. So if you are bulking, number one, you are not recovering. Number two, you are using a ton of calories by exercising more. Therefore, there's less calories to build a surplus of muscle, right? So probably back that off a little bit. Milos, I've heard many times you should ideally avoid combining carbs with fat. Do you think there is any truth to that? Do you know what? I'm gonna say this is my typical approach. Anyone who knows me, anyone who follows me, knows that I like to keep things simple. Now the problem is with something like that, people say, oh, you can't eat fat with carbs, blah, 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 blah. Why sweat the tiniest little things like that when most people can't get the fucking basics right? Most people can't do the normal stuff. Most people can't go a week without drinking. Most people can't consistently eat all of their meals. Most people can't consistently go a week without a cheat meal. So why are they then worried about fats and carbs eating together? To me, it's a bit rubbish. The only time I would say that potentially it's worth paying attention to that is post-workout. If you're training, you've trained, you're getting your carbs in your next meal, don't have fats with it. The rest of the time, potentially it's actually beneficial because it's gonna stabilize blood sugar, it's gonna slow down digestion. So, yeah, I'm calling bullshit on it. Are there any UP gyms in Scotland? There aren't, Sean, unfortunately. Umar, is brown sugar a good replacement from white? Umar, that's like me saying, which side of your face would you like a slap in? They're both bad. Bringing up shoulders, do you recommend frequency or high volume session? Shoulders potentially can take a higher volume because obviously you can't load them dramatically. However, that's going to be super individually dependent. As a general rule of thumb, for me and clients in the past, I train their delts frequently as opposed, but still relatively high volume. So for instance, there would be high volume sets. To break that down as an example, let's say the majority of my clients I'll train 3 times a week. Day one, I will do a lat raise, 3 sets, 20 reps, let's say. Day two, i.e. the next training session 2 days later, I will do a rear delt fly, let's say 3 sets of 15, 20, whatever it may be. Day three, 2 days later, I will do a different form of lat raises to build the lateral head. Now, we're talking at 120 odd reps there, minimum, per week, which is technically quite high volume, right? It's the equivalent of 12 of your average sets. That's high volume. I hit them with frequency. I like to do it a lot. Would I suggest that you spend 3/4 of an hour just bashing your deltoids up? Probably not, but there's a lot of factors to take into account there, you know. How good are you at recovering? If I tried that, if I smashed up my shoulders once a week, 2 things would happen. Number one, my arms, shoulders, chest and back would get smaller and I would get injured. Simple as that. So for most people, higher frequency is probably better, but you kind of have to try it and see what happens. What is your opinion on protein bars? Bateman Hannah, if you genuinely want to get in shape and stay in shape, don't eat protein bars, eat proper food. Can you grow muscle on a low carb diet? Absolutely yes. Everyone is different, but absolutely yes. How many grams of carbs would you recommend to continue getting lean? Even on a low carb diet, so let's say between 100 and 150 grams a day in a linear manner, so having the same amount every day, you can still absolutely get lean. So, you know, don't mistake low carb for zero carb. There's a difference. For me, I can get, in fact, without a doubt, I get more gains from my training. I'm considerably stronger if I sit at about 100 grams of carbs and about 100 grams of fat per day. If I go above that with carbs, I get fatter, I get weaker, I get lethargic. So for me, I work better off of protein and fats predominantly. You may be different. Everyone is different. I've been using the Eat Up meals for 3 weeks. I'm eating the small meals but struggling having the same meals each week. How risky is it for me to stop and make my own? Rob, it depends on your commitment. Obviously, having something like Eat Up, the meal prep service, it saves a vast amount of time. It makes sure you are always prepared, that you're never caught short. It's going to save time on washing up. It's going to save stress. You know what is in that food is in that food. You're not going to have to spend time calculating. You're not going to have to spend time doing all of the messing around and the crap stuff. So you tell me, you know, if you are prepared to do all of that, if you are prepared to sit down and say, I know I need to do this consistently in order to get in shape, then I will do it and I will commit to it. Then it's not dangerous. If, however, there's a doubt in your mind, which I would suggest there probably is, otherwise you wouldn't have gone on meal prep to start with. If there's a doubt in your mind, then maybe it's not a smart idea. More dangerous. I am Parker. Spot on. My words would have been very similar. Awesome. Just water break quickly. Danny Camp, my very own little champion there. Welcome, Danny. Still so impressed with you. I think I've looked at that about 50 times today and just been like, amazing effort. Danny, to be realistic, unless you're a bit of a genetic freak and you build muscle extremely quickly, you're very anabolic, building muscle is a long, slow process. It takes a long, long time. You know, potentially to see a real good shape change in your glutes, unless you're extremely lucky, can take 1-2 years. It can take a long time, and it's about plugging away at being consistent, being progressive, and eating a lot of food. There's no answer to your question. I know, as frustrating as that may be, but you have shown me an amazing amount of consistency with your own story, right? What happened? You know, your body was a bit reluctant to change for the best part of 8 weeks, and then suddenly, because you stayed consistent, because you kept doing it, everything flipped and changed. With regards to the building muscle, that is going to take time. It's going to take time, effort, and more than anything, consistency and patience. So there's no answer to that. Robbie Podmore, got quite lean on one-to-one, went on a lad's holiday and put on body fat, followed by phase 2 and nutrition as advised by PT, but can't seem to get as lean as before. Should I switch things up? Robbie, did you do a lot of drinking? Tell me that. Probably did. You do a lot of drinking and eating crap. Is there going to be any group training in any London UP fitness studios? There was our classes in the London gyms. I can't tell you whether they're still there now. They may be, they may not be, but go to the website upfitness.com, pick the gym of your choice in London and send them a direct email to find out if the classes are still on. If they are not now, at some point in the future, yes, they will be reintroduced. So make sure you subscribe either to the mailing list or hit post notifications on UP Fitness Live, and we will announce. And of course, come back here every single week. And if any new announcements come out company-wide, then I will tell you about them myself. Any recommendations for an evening meal? I get home at 9 p.m, 180 centimeters tall and 20% fat. Thanks. Dire Simon, whatever you want, man. Good evening meal. Something light, maybe, if you don't sleep well. So let's say some white rice, some salmon, and some spinach. There you go. Problem. Thanks, super happy with my LiveUP results. Thank you, Danny. I'm beyond happy. I could not be prouder of you, genuinely. Amazing, staggering body shape you've come out the other side of that with. Absolutely speechless. Can you achieve progressive overload by increasing the number of reps, sets, or can it only be achieved by gradually increasing the weight? Sam, yeah, potentially you can, but there has to be a limit. You know, where are you going to stop? 150 reps per set? No. And when you're at that stage, the weight is going to be so light that it's irrelevant anyway. You're not going to get anywhere. So you really should be aiming to do both. Always, always, always aim to lift more as a priority and then use the reps as a variable. Yes, lots of drinking and eating crap followed by phase 2. So basically, Robbie, what's happened is if you've done that to your gut lining is likely to be damaged, your gut bacteria is going to be screwed, your adrenals are likely to be a bit screwed up. It's going to take a while. One of the keys I try to teach everybody in the LiveUP plan is that in order to get in shape, you have to be healthy first. Okay, it doesn't matter how fast you want a transformation. If you're not healthy, your body is going to limit what it's willing to do for you. So the chances are, if you've abused your body like that, it's going to take a bit of time for your gut bacteria to return to good health, for your cortisol levels potentially and everything to settle itself back down. So it may be a bit different. The key is just to stick at it because it will come. Zico, how long can I go below maintenance calories? Zico, it depends on how low you go. If you go 200 calories below maintenance, stay there for a year. It really doesn't matter. If you go 1,000 calories below maintenance, you don't want to be there for much more than a few days to a week. Hey Elliot, Chris, champ, how was the holiday, mate? Just had a holiday, best shape of my life, and got lots of comments, all thanks to you. You're most welcome, man, but it's not thanks to me. I've given you the information you need in the form of the LiveUP plan. You were the one that actioned it and worked for it, so couldn't have made me prouder, man. Thanks, got a little bit of fat to lose now, but then begin chest specialization. Thing I would suggest, Chris, as I mentioned in the check-in, go straight back to starting diet, the day 1 diet. This gives us it's going to fire at your metabolism, get everything raking through again, and it gives us a good amount of time to pull down. So we'll bring it down nice and slow. So get straight back up there. You'll probably find that your body responds to it really, really well, and then we'll gradually take it back down. So just get straight back to where you were, man. You did me proud. I've got both Danny and Chris on here today, part of my dream team. Lean with Luke, finished a new book, by the way. Your guys' way of doing things is wicked. Learned some awesome tips. Thanks, Lean with Luke. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Put it into action, get some epic results out of both yourself and clients, no doubt. How long does it take for super compensation to kick in after lifting, and how many days do we have to make the most of it? It depends. You know, if you believe what you read, it can not happen for up to 6 to 8 weeks. So if you are giving yourself an absolute kick in, let's say you're training 2 or 3 times a day to drill yourself into the ground, the idea is then to take, say, a week to 2 weeks off, just eat a ton of calories and gain a load of muscle. However, from a technical standpoint, was a book I read down there, a big strength and conditioning research book, suggests that supercompensation sometimes won't happen until 6 to 8 weeks later. So there's not really a good answer to that I can give you. Best bet, try it, see what happens. What is the average below maintenance calories for 112 pounds with a work, office and 10 daily steps? 112 pounds, that's like 40 odd kilos, right? If you're 40 odd kilos as an adult, I would recommend maybe not dieting anywhere, because you will blow away if someone near you farts. Tips for improving posture. I find I round my shoulders forward when standing naturally. Sam, honestly, this is going to probably piss you off, but the best tip for improving posture is to be conscious of it and choose to improve it. Do that. Stand with your shoulders back. Pretty simple. That's the best tip you're ever going to get for improving your posture. How much should a 49 to 51 kilogram girl be able to deadlift 5 to 7 reps, 5 rounds? Jacopo Borgato, there is really, again, no answer to that. I know 49 kilo girls who can't deadlift a 30 kilo bar. I know 49 kilo girls who can lift 200 kilo bars. So there's no answer to that. Just aim to lift as much as that specific girl can lift and try to constantly, progressively build that weight up over time. There's no good answer. Chris Arpino, holiday was great, thanks. Yes, I'm prepping food right now whilst watching this to begin again. Awesome, man. Get straight back to it. You will smash it. Don't stress anything at all. You're going to kill it. Water tastes so good. Right, we've run out of questions. I reckon we're about 40 minutes in, maybe 45 by my estimation of time, which is sometimes quite a way off, but hey, hey. Giselle Hayes, is yoga good if you're weight training 5 days a week? Absolutely, yes, Giselle. One of the keys to weight training is to remain mobile, and it's something that most people who weight train do not do. And the opposite is true for yogis. Most people who do yoga do not weight train, so they become, yes, very, very mobile, but they become unstable and weak, which is why often yogis who just do yoga get very, very often injured. If you can get the right middle ground between the both, weight trainers who do yoga and yogis who do weight training, perfect combination. So yes, absolutely. Zico, thumbs up. I really enjoyed being back in UK a few weeks. Had a few things going on with a death in the family, but also a lot of work done. Got to go up to Manchester, saw the team in London, which was amazing. Some of my old boys from London Mayfair. So if any of you are watching that, thank you for being so hospitable. Missed you all. I've got Dubai coming up in 2 weeks, so any of you out there in Dubai, I'll potentially be doing one of these lovely live feeds from Dubai, or I'll certainly be in and out of the Dubai gym for at least one day while I'm there, and then potentially Amsterdam area in the next few weeks. So if any of you are in Amsterdam, then make sure you come say hi. Apart from the UP books, what is the best book you have read regarding fitness? Honestly, the best book that I feel, Simon Hadaway, that helped me the most, and we're going back many, many years now, is Frederick Galavier, The Anatomy of Strength. One of the things I try to teach our juniors more than anything is that the better you know your anatomy, the better you can manipulate mechanics during a session and get the most out of every single rep. Now, the key is, you know, a lot of people say that the speed that we get transformations is, oh, it's impossible, it's this, it's that, it's the other. It isn't. The fact is that 99% of you, or 99% of trainers out there, waste reps. They let clients get away with 5 or 6 shit reps for every 10 rep set. That's half a workout every day, let's say 4 times a week. That person has lost 2 workouts a week over a 12-week period. That's 24 workouts, okay, which is essentially its own 5-week period, 6-week period even, okay? To put that into perspective, this is why we get results so much quicker, because you pay attention to every single rep. For me, that book really, really helped me way back at the beginning of my career, because it allows me to see when you're moving as a client in front of me, when you're moving as a client, I'm not seeing a person, I'm seeing levers, I'm seeing muscles move, I'm seeing mechanics, I'm seeing this angle versus that angle, and it's just something that habitually you drill into yourself over time, and it allows you to get the best out of a client. Even from 50 yards away, I can spot something that I need to change on, you know, one of our own gym members. So for me, that book, Frederick Galavier, The Anatomy of Strength, was one of the best ones ever. House Harmon, are Picks and Earls too hot for YouTube? We did put that video up very briefly, had a bit of a trial, but a number of people took offense to the sense of humor that myself, Barry and Matt have together. You know, we're very, very close friends. We've been around for a long, long time. And people weren't really keen on the fact that it was a little bit more real, you know, it was a bit raw. It was just me, him talking. It was just the boys chatting. So I've had to take it way, 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 way back down. I'll re-edit it again when I have a slot in my diary and then put it back up for you all to get the information. It just may be slightly more wooden than it was before. For overall body composition, how much would you say heavy drinking at the weekend holds someone back? Massively. Simple answer to that, massively. You've got no chance. Himanshu Chopra, hi, thanks for doing this, no problem at all. Please suggest a natural alternative to pre-workout. Your best alternatives, number one, if you feel like you need a pre-workout, then you're not resting enough. So your first alternative is adequate rest. I know that may seem a little bit out of the box, but it's a fact. Secondly, coffee, a really good, nice shot of organic coffee. Where can I buy a UP t-shirt like yours? If you go to upfitness.com or upfitness.co.uk, you should be able to go there. If not either of them, go to the link in my bio personally, Elliot Upton. Go over there to Elliot Upton, my profile, hit the link in my bio, and that will actually take you straight to the page where you can buy the t-shirts. That's the easiest way, actually. One thing I've noticed after walking around 9 to 10 miles per day on hold, my hips are very, very sore and tender to touch. It's just fatigue. It is fatigue. So essentially that'll be your TFL, which is just at the front of the hip, I'm imagining. Like if you feel the bony process at the front of your hip, it will be just down and to the left, right? Or well, obviously to the left or right, just to the outer edge of your hip. Just your TFL fatigue. It's very, very common. Your favorite website for fitness knowledge. My favorite website for fitness knowledge is generally the internet. Now I know that's not what that's not the answer you're looking for, but Google, because the ultimate fact of it is that for everything you want to know, you should be reading a bunch of different resources on it. Listen to everyone, listen to everything, learn to understand their point of view, create your own understanding of it, and then see if it's relevant to you. You know, there's a lot of shit out there. There's so much shit out there. But Google is a great resource to be able to sift through a bunch of stuff, figure out what's shit and what is good. Providing you can then understand it, and you need to truly understand it, you can then decide whether it is relevant to you, relevant to your clients, etc. You know, for instance, there's a whole load of stuff out. Let's take a friend of ours, Poliquin. You know, I'm close to Poliquin. I speak to him almost daily on Facebook. He is one of the smartest men on the planet when it comes to this. He's proven it time and time again. He will go down in history as one of the greatest strength coaches ever lived. That's never going to change. Now, he gets a lot of shit sometimes saying, oh, this doesn't work, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 you don't know this, you don't know. Let me tell you something. All that tells me is that the people who are slagging him off and saying all these sorts of things are dumb as fuck. Because what Poliquin is great at is putting things into context. He says, I trained this NHL player and gave them 50 supplements and blah, 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 blah. Now, an NHL player who has a $10 million contract at the end of the season, if they get their job, is going to take every single supplement, is going to do every single session, is going to be fully compliant because there's $10 million on the line. Yeah? He tells you that this was an NHL client. The problem is your average Dick Joe trainer that runs around in any commercial gym here, who's gone to a Poliquin course, then tries to give Gloria, our 45-year-old mother of three who's never been in a gym before, 700 pounds worth of supplements and strength training workouts every single week. Why? Because Poliquin said so. No, he did not. Nor did any other strength coach who's doing that. They put it into context. The trainer just chose not to listen. Okay, and the same applies to anything you read on the internet, any information you get off the websites, etc. You have to understand it and you have to put it into context as it is being told to you and also as you are going to apply it, and that's the key. Stress levels. Do you think that even if sticking to macros and calories, the body can still fight against results of heightened stress? 1,000,000%, Sarah. Absolutely yes, without a doubt. Thanks for the advice. I'm going home for curry. Will, not the answer I was after, but the one I knew was coming. Of course, Will. Himanshu, thanks. Coffee does not seem to work for me, slows me down more. Then your adrenal glands are probably ruined and all the more reason for you to rest. Himanshu, rest. That tells me everything I need to know. You need to get a lot more rest. For someone with a small appetite who wants to bulk, how do you suggest increasing my appetite to be able to do this? Really good ways of increasing your appetite are fermented vegetables, things like sauerkraut. They massively increase your appetite. Secondly, eat lighter foods, higher calorie lighter foods. So things like peanut butter, I've used it before, olive oil dressings will shunt your calories way up without much volume of food. Dry mouth. Oh, I tell you, I almost got political on the whole women-only training camp thing then, didn't I? Maybe there's reasons to do them, maybe there isn't, but rubs me up the wrong way, the whole men should be there, women should be there, men should be there, women should be there. It drives me crazy. Any more questions? We are ticking down that time. I get a feeling sometime soon Instagram is going to tell me that we have 2 minutes remaining. When that comes, I'm not going to be able to give you very detailed answers. So make sure if you want a big question, you want a detailed answer now, then drive it into me, throw it at me. Come on, give it to me. What you got, bro? Shane, any tips for practical PT interviews? Elliot, mate, yes, don't overcomplicate it. And train someone how you would like to be trained. If you are doing something like that, you know, if you overcomplicate anything in life in general, not just PT, you're going to trip yourself up and you're going to fail. You're going to look like an idiot. So keep it simple, number one. Number two, train whoever you are doing in that practical interview, train them how you would like to be trained. Think, do you know what, if I'm giving this person £100 an hour, what do I want? I want intensity, I want support, I want attention to detail, I want to be doing things right. I want to know that at the end of this session, I've given it my all and I'm gonna get a result from it. Keep those things in mind and deliver that session. At any point where you have a doubt or you think you're being lazy, remember how you would like to be trained and you should be absolutely solid with it. Not an issue. Come on, what have we got? Ooh. I'll tell you what we did. So the vegan protein that we now have out, which again, you can hit the link in the bio on my personal profile. It will take you right there. Or you can go straight to upfitness.com and hunt around for it. Vegan protein on the website. So I had the chocolate hazelnut version of it the other day. Oh! So those of you who haven't tried vegan protein, it tastes like mud. On the whole, it tastes like licking your driveway. That's what vegan protein has always tasted like. We have now formulated a vegan protein, obviously with that in mind, knowing that it usually tastes like ass. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. Go and check it out. Anyone who picks it up, I promise you, you will not be disappointed with this. As a vegan protein, if you've had them before, you will know what they taste like. You will know the texture, the chalky, powdery texture. Our vegan protein is amazing. Chocolate hazelnut. This is a tip though. Get the chocolate hazelnut one. It's amazing. If I do weights 3 times a week, how much cardio should I do and how often? Depends how much fat you've got to lose. But going for a walk before breakfast daily is more than enough. More than enough. If not, then let's say 2 sessions if you want to do formal cardio. You're welcome, Shane. Good luck. Amy Evans, hi, do you believe in refeed meals and also do carbs and fat matter if you hit your protein goals and still in a calorie deficit? Amy Evans, let me start with the second half of that. Yes, they absolutely do matter. They serve certain purposes and they should be taken into account for. So yes, make sure your macros are bang on. And refeed meals, yes, I do believe in them. If you have been in a calorie deficit for long enough and if you are training hard enough. Those are 2 very, very big ifs though, because 99% of Joe public who say, oh, I wanted a refeed or I wanted to cheat, they're not training hard enough, they're not training consistently enough, they're not dieting hard enough, they're not dieting consistently enough. So yes, I do believe in them, but they need to be in the right place at the right time. Timmy, how can you correct someone's form when they think they know everything? Welcome to being a personal trainer. The best way you can correct someone who thinks they know everything is to genuinely and logically re-educate them. If they are half smart, they will see the logic in something. If you can explain something logically, the chances are they will change their ways, and it takes a bit of patience, but that is our job, that is our life. Explain it logically rather than emotionally, and this is the key to kind of winning an argument. Explain it logically, you'll be fine. Ginny, right, so we are on 35 seconds. This means I have about 30 seconds to answer really, really quick. So bring them in. Thanks so much. Last question, do you weigh your rice pasta cooked or uncooked? Always, well, saying that always. For me, I get my guys and girls on the LiveUP plans to measure it. I don't have them weigh it, to measure it uncooked. Next. We have 18 seconds, 17, 16. Bring them in. Who is going to be the last question of the day? These are quick fire. We now have 10 seconds, so in 5 seconds, I'm going to have to say goodbye. One more. What have we got? Anything coming in? I have been Elliot Upton. This has been Ultimate Performance, and I will see you very, very soon. YouTube. That was it. That was the Wednesday live feed, 8 p.m. UK time, as always, over on @UP Fitness Live. The link is in the comments box below. Of course, you haven't had the chance to ask me questions live like this, but please do pop them in the comments box and I will be sure to answer them as soon as I can. If they warrant a full video answer, then I absolutely will do that. If not, I will just reply to you in good old-fashioned text. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Check out all of my other videos, like, share, comment, do whatever you need to do to support me, because I would love it and you would be my best friend. But until next week, I'm Elliot Upton and I am out. You've heard that twice now, so hey. Phew.